Hello, welcome all, and this is the web service. uh, Web service session 2. So session 2 here we're going to talk about here we're going to work on one web-based application, and we're going to develop it. Before that, in the last session we have already discussed about the importance of the web-based applications. We have discussed about producer and consumers and few other things. Okay, interoperable applications by using XML and JSON, all those things. So in the most of the applications, in most of the applications, applications of the projects in the organization, in organizations, they use web-based web-based applications, not standalone applications. Okay, so all these applications in any organization, so these applications can be accessible within some network, within some within the intranet. So most of the applications can be accessed within the intranet. So here, intranet, for the people who don't know what is intranet, you know, let's say this is the office. This office. So this office, let's say that we have few applications. So these applications, when you're office, these applications run fine. All these applications run fine. So whereas when you try to access the same applications outside outside the intranet, outside the office, using the internet, then they will be not accessible. So the reason why, because is they are bound to run only inside some network, that is intranet. So this is the office network, and this is the internet. So these applications won't run in the internet, they are bound to work only inside the internet. So that's about the applications accessible, and they are developer which are developed on the other internet applications. And of course, there are few applications which are made to run outside the internet, that is using internet, but it is very rare. Rare in the sense, of course, they do develop, but maybe in very small number of APIs they may have. So all these applications use the form-based applications. So let's back. So all these applications, um, all these applications use form-based, use a form. That is form-based. So they are called as so they are form-based applications. Okay. So any applications, if you look at any application, especially if you say web-based application, any web-based applications contain the following four operations: can perform um, confirm below 4 operations. You all know it. What is it? It is one is can create, and it can create the record, retrieve, it can update, and it can delete or remove. So you can say they can perform CRUD operations, right? So all the web-based applications can perform the CRUD-based operations. Okay, that's okay. Now, okay. So let's jump onto the project. Now let me draw a form-based application so that we can work on it. Let's say that this is my form. So let's say that I have these fields: employee name and employee ID, employee number, employee name, or you can say simply name, gender, and address. Okay. So this is what where you need to enter. For the address, I'm going to increase the size. The number is the number, name is string, gender is string, address is also string. Okay, so let me create a button. So the name of the button is store. So let's say that name of the button is store. Store, or it can be anything. Store or submit or anything. Okay. So when this is the form which needs to display as UI. So this is the client. So whenever any user or the client enters these details, it needs to get, so all the data entered data should get updated in the database, and also it should throw a one more form displaying this message. What message it should display? Let's say that it should display this message. Database. Okay. So it should say, it should print the data what we have in address. And print address. So it should print all this information. So saying that, and if at all he wants to add one more record, it should display at the bottom, add new employee. So when he clicks this, so again it should display this form. So we have the two forms. So whenever the client needs to, or the user need to enter this data, and when he clicks store, it should, the data, entered data should get stored in the database, and it should display one more form with this data, with this information. Okay. Mm, so it needs to display this data. Okay. And at the bottom, so it should display the message saying that add new. Okay, employee. So this is the form. These are the two forms which need to display. When he clicks store, it should display the another form with the entered data. And when he wants to add a new employee again, and when he clicks it, the form one should get displayed. So this is the requirement. Okay. So this is the form. So this is our project. So maybe so actually when we um, develop a web-based application, um, either a servlet or JSP can accept the request. Okay, so no other service can accept the request. So any other program will not be accepted. So these are the two programs which can accept the web-based requests. So we can say that we have uh, we have two technologies in Java, not in any other language, to work with web-based application. Okay, that is one is Servlet and second one is JSP. Okay. So we have the two technologies to work with web-based applications. Okay. So and so why we need two technologies? One Servlet and other one JSP. So internally, what's going to happen is uh, even though we write the code in JSP, internally JSP will get converted to do servlets. It's converted as servlets by by its server. So by server, internet get converted as servlets. Okay, this is the point to be noted. Now, uh, we also need to talk about one more technology, that is JSTL. So JSTL stands for the JSP JSP Standard Tag Library. Library. So it's a standard tag library. Okay. So to remove Java code from JSP, we use why it is required. Why it's required. So when we say why it is required, it is to remove Java code from um, from JSP we use this. Okay, that's the answer for this question. So we need to remove the Java code from JSP. We use this JST. Okay. So coming to the point of, so we have we should never use so actually, so we should never use scriptlets or JSP comma JSP expressions comma JSP like JSP disk declaration in JSP file. Instead, instead it should be instead we should use JSTL tags. We should not use scriptlets, JSP expressions, JSP declarations, um, scriptlets in JSP file. Instead, we should use JSTL tags. Okay, so that's the importance here. Important point to be noted. Now, coming to the point of why we should use servlet, why we should JSPs, because even though we write the code in JSPs internally, server will get convert these JSPs into servlets. So why do we need this? To take different technologies. Okay, the reason is the Oracle has clearly differentiated it, and it says that we should. Okay, this is a different topic. So Oracle says that we should use servlets for writing business logic, and 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 JSP for writing um, presentation logic. So this is the reason why we use two different languages, two different technologies. Okay, so the servlet should use for writing the business logic, and whereas for the JSP, it is used for writing the presentation logic. Okay, so let's jump on and create a table. To create a table, I will go to. I'm going to create the table inside the Oracle database. Okay, so let's say that I have open SQL plus, and to create the table, we need to use command create user. Let's say that string identified by some password. I'll say ABC. When I enter this, it's going to create the Spring user with the password ABC. Okay. So once you create the user, you need to connect using that user and password. Once you get connected, you need to create the table. Create table. I'm going to say emp underscore table, and inside it, I'm going to write my fields. Number, its number to 5 characters, comma, name, it's varchar 2, and let's say that 20 characters, and salary, it's number. I'm going to say 10, 10 comma 2, 2 decimal points. Then I'm going to say gender, it's varchar of 20. It's not required, it's just a gender, right? It's just a 5 characters. Address, it should be little high, so I'm going to use 2000. I can use it, right? So when I run this, it's going to create the table with a name. It's going to create the table with a name emp underscore table. Okay, and these are the fields: e-number, e-number, name, salary, gender, and address. So this is the data type and the value that it's going to hold. Okay, so here comes the important part. This is a project, right? These are the project. So now, so to implement the above program in the sense above logic what we discussed. This is the form one, this is the form two. So to implement the above program, so to implement this project, let me copy it. So let's say that we have created the tables, and this is our project. The two forms, the form one and form two. The form when the client or the user is going to enter the data, all this data, and when you click store, it's going to get data. All this data should get stored inside the database, and it should display one more form with this data, with this information. Okay, so to implement the above requirement, we need to develop develop following programs. So what is that? First one is, so as I already said, for the we should use where is it? Okay, we should use Servlet for writing the business logic, and JSP for writing the presentation logic. So we need totally 3 programs. One is one for this JSP to display the form one. Second for second JSP. Second one is a servlet program to write the business logic because we need to store data, right? So once we store data, it needs to display this form. So again, we need a second JSP to display this information. So we need totally 3 programs. One is JSP. One is a JSP that is to display the form one to the user to enter data. The second one is uh, servlet servlet program to to get the data from to get the data and store it in database, right? And we need a third JSP that is to um, display data to user, right? We need 3 programs. So one is a JSP program, which is going to display form one, where the client is going to enter data. The second one is servlet, that is to write the business logic. JSP is for the business logic, and one is the servlet that is for writing the business logic. So JSP for the presentation and servlet for the business logic. So the servlet is going to store the data information in database in JSP. Once it is stored, it is going to display back the data to the user in the form of form. Okay. So let me draw a diagram. Let me draw a diagram and see what are the different steps we have. Okay. Uh, so this is my server. Let's say that this is my server, and I'm going to say that this has my database. This is my database. Let's say this is my database, and this is my servlet, and this is my front end UI. This is my UI. I can say it has browser. It can be browser, or I can say it's a client, or some. It can be maybe UI, or I can say it's a consumer. So I can say all these things. Okay. So for now, I will say it has browser. Okay, anything's fine. Now, what I'm going to do is, first of all, let's say that as we already said that we need three programs: JSP, Servlet, and JSP. Okay. Um, this is the server, not the servlet. Sorry, this is the servlet. This is server, not servlet. This server. Okay, let's say that we have one. We need one servlet, right? Let's say that this is one servlet. So this is the one form, one JSP. So this is the okay. This is the JSP1. So this is the JSP2. So in the server we need three programs, right? One is the servlet, one servlet, and two JSPs. So this is the JSP one, and this is the JSP2, second JSP. So let's say that the count at the first, it needs to display this information, right? The form one, it needs to display this information. Okay, let's say that it needs to display the employee number, name, and all those things. So what I'm going to do is simply copy this, paste it here. Yeah, Okay, so let's say that this is a form it needs to display, right? So that one will be displayed first of all. The browser, first of all, what's going to happen is the browser will send request. It will send request to the server. Okay, when sends request, it sends the request to the server. So here, this is the first step. This is the first step, and let's say that this is the browser. So this is the browser, and these are the form one. So the form one is nothing but the form. This is the one. It's going to display employee name, gender, and address to enter. So when we enter a store, it should get stored in database, and it should get display this another JSP saying that the following information is got stored in the database. And when we click the new employee, again it should display form one. Now, so here, let's say that first the browser, whenever the client opens the browser, it's going to send request. It's going to open the one particular website, right? So when he opens the website, the first it will request goes to the JSP. Okay, so it goes to JSP. So JSP is going to display the form one. So it's going to the response is going to display the form one. What is the form one? This is the form one. So it's going to display the form one. This is the form one. So it's going to display this form one, saying that employee name, enter, change, and all these things. So when you enter the information, when you enter some information here, when you enter some information, gender, address, and when you click on, when you click, when you click store, so when you click this, so what's going to happen is, so this is the step one, right? So this is step two. Step two. So once the form is filled and when you click store, second request goes to the goes from browser directly to from here to the server. So this is the step three. So once the client enters the store after entering all this information, the request goes to the server. The server, what's going to happen is server it's going to get the information, get the data. Is going to get the data next. Why? He's going to call the JDBC basic to store information, right? So that is the step 5. That is a step 5. Once the data is stored, it needs to forward this information because the data is present with the is present with the servlet. So it needs to forward the information. It needs to forward the information. It needs to forward the data because it needs to display in the browser, right? So it needs to forward. So forward to what? It needs to forward to the display JSP. So this is the step 6. Okay, so this display JSP is going to send the response to the browser. send the response to the browser saying that so as we have entered the information, right, it's going to display this display.jsp as saying that the following data is entered in the database. So this is the one. Employee name is one, name is this, gender is this, and address, and it's going to show some button here. So this is the form it's going to display. So this is the step 7. So this is the step 7. So let me repeat it one more time. First of all, the browser is going to send request. Browser is going to send request to the form 1. Form 1 is going to is response with this form. So when the client enters all this information and when he clicks store, when he clicks store, the third step will get executed. So the step what it's going to do is it's going to send request to the servlet. So the servlet, what's going to have? Servlet is going to have all this entered information. So it's going to get data and it's going to call the JDBC, the program to store the database, to store the data in the database. Then it's going to forward the information it has, because it has the data, right? So it has to forward the information to display JSP. So display JSP is going to send the response back to the store saying that this information, showing this information saying that the following data is stored in the database. So this is the project. Okay, so we need two JSPs, one servlet inside the server and a browser. So these are the steps. So this is the last step, step 7. Okay, so let me copy this. This is the first one it's going to display. So this is the second form. So this is the flow. So this is the flow. We can minimize it to accommodate. Okay, this is the flow. So that's the flow. Okay, so that's all for now. In the next topic, we want to discuss about few more things about different scopes available in the JSPs and servlet, and different kinds of objects that are created by the server or container, and etc. Okay, before we start on jump on to writing the code for this flow. Okay, thank you.